give a warm welcome to Richie, Timmy, and Mark Petty. Hey guys, hop on up here. Right? Exactly, the happiest place in the world right now. So, gentlemen, you guys are celebrating 75 years in motorsports, which is something truly special. Not many families, race teams can say that. I haven't even been in this world for 75 years. What does this legacy mean to you guys and your family?
Well, our grandfather, Lee Petty, started this with his brother, Julie, back in 1949. We're Petty brothers too, so we're carrying it on with the Petty brother deal. But man, it's awesome to come here to Daytona. Grandfather won the first one here in 1959. Richard won 7 of them. Pete Hamilton for the Petty family won in 1970 there. So we've had a lot of legacy here.
That's just a Daytona 5.
That's just a Daytona.
Yeah.
Well, a little side note, our other grandfather, Ken Myler, was the crew chief and head mechanic in '59, so both our grandfathers won the first one here.
It took the whole family to make the championship happen. Yeah, you can clap for that. That's awesome. You know, you don't get to celebrate 75 years very often. So through this year, you know, we've been traveling around with this iconic Oldsmobile right here. And what is some of the things that you guys have done this year to celebrate 75 years?
We've been traveling around to some racetracks. We do a podcast, Petty Brothers Racing. We do family history, so check that out on YouTube. We try to cover it from the beginnings up until the mid 80s and 90s. But the whole family's been involved. Kyle and Richard going to all the races, doing these hats. We've done a few of them. Just having a good time.
We got a pretty awesome collection of stuff over the years from the 40s through current date, so we try to share that with everybody in a small way.
If I wanted to go see some of these things, where could I go check them out?
Level Cross.
Level Cross.
And visit the museum over there too.
Can't wait. All right, you got to put me down on your list. I want to spend a lot of time in there.
Everybody's welcome. Come down to Level Cross. Come to the Petty Museum. Check all it out.
I love hearing your guys' stories because we got friends and family all over. You guys get to share some of the stories that some of us, even if we're diehard race fans, haven't heard. What are some of your earliest memories at the racetrack that you could share with us?
Well, first and foremost is like we drove down here yesterday. It was a lot of memories come back because we drove down here for years, you know, and it was started out being about 12 hours because they didn't have all the interstates when we started out doing it.
How fast can you get down here now?
Well, if you went for Jacksonville, pretty quick.
Yeah, but you got to stop at Buc-ee's.
Oh, how many Buc-ee's? Yeah.
That adds another hour to the trip.
Nice. What were some of these first memories coming down here?
You know, well, believe it or not, I was like 2 years old in 1970 when Pete Hamilton won the race. We were here.
Yeah.
As soon as we were born or whatever, they brought us to the racetrack. So our memories go back to the beginning. But you're talking about this Oldsmobile, 79. That was a wonderful day. We was down here, and my dad, you know, he passed away in 2020. But the excitement on him and my mother's face when Richard won that race, it's still in my mind.
We've been listening everywhere we go. We play that video. I've been traveling around with this car all year. It's the eye catcher. The first thing people do when they walk into the experience, they go straight to Richard Petty's car. And I've watched this video 100 times this summer. I can keep watching it again and again.
We can too.
And I just want to know, in some of these stories, because that's how these legacies continue, is these stories. What's a story that you've maybe heard, but you can hear it every time? Maybe you heard your grandfather tell it, or your uncle. What is a story that it never gets old, that you love hearing again and again?
Well, the thing I remember about it is I worked in the engine shop then, and we drove after the 125. 125 then.
Yeah.
Drove home and rebuilt that engine and brought it back and put it in here, and that's what won the race. So I was part of it, and these guys were too. They stayed with our mother, my sister, and I. My dad drove back all the way up I-95 and then through the country. So
for all the airplanes flying back and forth,
that's how important it was to do this, you know, to win this race. It meant everything.
Well, and when we've talked, especially with your uncle, he said you used to drive the race car to the track with the family in the car and then kick everybody out. And what would happen if you wrecked? How would you get home?
Take a while to get home.
Well, didn't Dale Inman and Morris, my dad, Morris, they drove to California, didn't they, Morris?
Well, yeah, you just better not wreck.
Yeah.
Dale was
Maybe that's why they didn't wreck, because they had to get home.
There were a lot more high stakes if you wrecked back then, but now if you wreck, you know, some teams have another car lined up. Yeah. Did either one of you guys have any stories that you like to hear just over and over?
Well, I mean, like I say, we would. I'm the baby of all of us, so I was a kid growing up. But you'd come to Daytona with our dad and uncle and grandfather. You thought it was normal to win. They was winning all the time. You know what I mean? And then as we got older and go to work on teams ourselves, we realized just how much effort that our family actually put into the Daytona races. Because this is just special for our family and the hard work they put in as we become adults. We learned about that by working.
For the first 20 years, they'd won half of them.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was just, you come to Daytona, like Mark said, you expected to win.
Was there a loss that you guys remember? It just hurt you to the core, and it took you guys a while to get over it.
Probably 76.
76.
Oh yeah, so 76 500 when him and Pearson come sliding down through the throttle over there.
We were happy for the Wood boys.
Well, yeah. I don't know. I was a kid. I was.
Well, you know, they're friends. They've been friends ever since we was kids, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Fans, if you're just joining us here in the NASCAR experience, I got Richie, Timmy, and Mark Petty. You guys are going to be our grand marshals today. That's really exciting. So, have y'all been practicing together at all? Do you get one microphone that you have to share?
Gentlemen or drivers, we don't know how.
That's up to you.
Hey, I put you like this: the King's gonna be out. The King,
Whatever he
with us. So whatever the King says.
Whatever he says, well, we'll have to find out.
Yes.
So we've been having some of our grand marshals. They give really long commands. Should we expect a really
I don't think
long?
we're that dramatic.
We're going to follow Uncle Richard's lead. Let him lead us. We're going to trap him.
I love it.
Point is all business.
Right. I'll love it if one of you guys say gentlemen, one of you guys say drivers. It's like,
We're steering wheel
All right,
holders.
that's a deal.
yeah,
Arm up. Let's go.
yeah. Whoever can start the car, let's go. Gentlemen, you guys have some great stories. One story that I loved hearing about in the museum, one of the cars, it says "in" as you're getting through into the driver's seat.
Hold on yourself there, didn't you?
Yeah.
That car right there.
Is it this one right here?
That car right
Okay.
there.
Wait, tell us the story real quick.
Yeah, well, let Richie tell it.
That car used to sit back in the warehouse.
Okay.
We was kids and we always played in the warehouse. That's where we grew up, in the junkyards, in the warehouses, in the shop. But there was stickers laying around. So we're cutting stickers and just messing around. And it was a squincher, I believe it was.
Winters, yeah, that was.
Yeah.
We cut it up,
We cut that up with another decal, basically.
stuck it on our end. I believe it was another one we stuck on there too.
Oh yeah. So that's just not there.
It's just been wild. kids.
So it's still there because we did it.
Can you imagine growing up?
Yeah.
Having race cars like that, that's what you played in?
Yeah.
That's what we did.
That's incredible. Like, also, if you're thinking about it, I'm like, if you're a driver and you don't know which window to get in, you're probably in the wrong sport.
Yeah, that's right.
Exactly.
Good point.
So I'm curious. Growing up, you guys I heard Richard say once that other families grew corn and you guys grew stock cars. And I think it puts it into perspective. You guys spent a lot of time around the shop, and you go out, and your dad, your uncle, your grandfather, they'd say, "Don't come home until I get home." Who would get in the most trouble when you guys would be out throughout the days?
I guess it was all three of them.
Pretty equal.
Pretty equal. All right. What's one of the worst times?
Damn, I didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
Our dad, he was all in on this deal, and sometimes you'd go over to the shop, and he would just look at you and say, "Best thing you do is go back across the street." You're going to get in trouble.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for being here. We're so excited to have you guys here and celebrate 75 years in racing. That's incredible.
Thank y'all. Thank
Everyone,
you, man.
give it up one more time for Richie, Timmy, and Mark Petty, your grand marshals for today's race. Thank you.